Welcome back to another episode of Forbidden Depths. I'm your host, Queen Frostbitten, and we're here today to get down, dirty, and sultry by staying open, educated, consensual, and safe. If you're returning, welcome back to another episode. Thanks for supporting the channel and its growth. If, of course, you're new here, make sure you follow, like, and subscribe, because one taste will never be enough. We need to cross everything with the issues we've been having. Thanks again for joining us for another episode of Forbidden Depths today. I do want to go ahead and let you know that we've been having some difficulties with electronics today. So we're hoping that we have no more of those and that has passed. I have an amazing individual today. I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself to you.
Hi, so I'm Freya, but I go by Miss Elusive on all my social medias. I've kind of been in the industry for about 3.5 years now, mainly on things like Twitter and private sales, funny enough. But it's been a good job for me. I've been really enjoying it, and I'm hopefully gonna have a chat to you guys a little bit more about what I've been up to and what I've been doing and how I got into it.
Yes, I love it. So first, I do want to say, if you do not follow on Twitter, you should. You're missing so much. It's at Miss Elusivex. Get on over there, follow. It's amazing. First, I want to know how you got your name.
Well, but I was going to start an Instagram kind of modeling account offers about 6 years ago.
Okay.
And a friend gave me the name. She said, why don't you use that? And then when I went back, when I started sex work, I thought, you know what, I'm going to carry on with it. And I've not found anybody else on the platforms who use Miss Elusive. So it's been quite good. And I go by Freya to everybody else. And on my socials, you'll see I do have as Freya. But I kept the username of Miss Elusive mainly because I haven't seen anybody else. And I like to be a bit different.
Yeah. So that's what I noticed too. So a lot of the kind of content on your page, like, where do you draw your inspiration?
Although I'm quite tattooed and more out looking, I do go more towards the girl next door style videos and things as well. I've recently got into fantasy toys because I've had a lot of promotional companies reach out to me, and I was never going to say no to that. So I've got more. So I've been building up my collection there, which I do kind of want to start going more into. But I kind of do just what I feel like. I don't have a niche that I'm in. I don't have a particular, most of the time I don't really have much of a plan of action. It's more of a, what do I feel like filming today? What kind of photos do I want to do? What am I going to feel good in? And I take it from there because I want it to be natural. I don't want to be putting on a show all the time. I want to still be enjoying it.
And that's kind of what I noticed from your content. I didn't want to say that up front, but like, it's one of those things, like, you can kind of feel it. You can kind of feel like you were caught in the moment, and that's kind of what you were feeling, and you're into it. So you notice whenever you're watching some people, it's like it's forced almost. Like, I've never seen any of yours that is. So I was always like, well, this must be one of those things where she just goes with the flow, and then whatever she's feeling in the moment. But I didn't want to be like, oh, it looks like this.
No, I wouldn't take that as offense. Don't worry. It is what I'm like. I have quite bad ADHD, so I can't plan things as such. I always have a million ideas in my head. So it's, when it comes to filming, it's like, okay, let's use this and this today, and that will be it. Unless we're doing customs, then that's a different situation. But for my spicy pages, I prefer things to just be a bit more like they're in the moment with me. And it's just, to me, it's more real, more amateur style, and
Yes.
I want people to see me, not, I don't want to put on a fake persona. There's no point.
Yes. Oh my
I don't
goodness.
have the energy to do that personally. I know a lot of people do, but I like people to know the real me.
Yeah, fuck yeah. And I've noticed that as well, because I do the same thing when it comes to content creation, right? So I'm just like you, ADHD. I feel that has like a huge emphasis on the different things I decide to film, because some days I'm like in super dom mode. I'm like, I need to film this today.
Yeah.
This is the only thing I can film. And then other days it's like, oh well, today is more like the soft core kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, I noticed that and I love it. I love it. So my next question for you is, what do you consider yourself within the community?
Oh, do you know, I've been trying to figure that one out.
Okay. Okay.
Well, my main bit in the community at the moment is I'm a Twitter assistant.
Mm-hmm.
So I do a lot of assisting for a couple of bigger accounts, who are all the people I assist are quite big creators on OnlyFans, which is amazing because I love helping them grow, and I love seeing the content they put out. I love just watching it all become. So I'm really enjoying that. And I did for a while take a step back from content creating. I was still doing it, but it was more my like part-time job rather than a full-time job. But in the last 2 months, I've managed to figure it out so I can do both. So I kind of,
and that's a tough job. Just anybody that's listening that doesn't know, listen, she is like loaded with talent, because let me tell you, most people cannot do one of those, let alone both of those jobs.
So that's kind of and I've been trying to kind of find out where I fit in. That sounds like, no, that sounds a bit strange. I don't know if you know what I mean.
Oh yes.
I don't have like a particular place I'm in at the moment. I'm kind of everywhere.
Well,
really,
that just means you have potential for growth, right?
Let's see it. And I'm sure you probably understand with the ADHD thing, you want to do multiple things at the same time.
All of it.
You always have a million ideas. And that I found out there's actually, I use that as a talent. I use it as like a superpower, because I always have ideas, especially with business ideas and marketing ideas and things like that. There's always something going on. So I used to think of it as a big problem, really. But the last 6 months or so, I've been using it to my advantage. And that was one of the reasons as well.
Energy.
Yeah, I wanted to get back more into the content creating side, which I've always loved, but I just kind of, I just needed a bit of a break. So I took that little bit of a break, going back to it now, and I'm really enjoying it, really enjoying making videos again. My partner's now started making videos with me as well, and helping me film and helping me take photos. So it's really fun that we get to do that together. I know it's not necessarily a normal thing unless you're in the industry, but I love it. It's just some time we can spend together, and he's involved in what I'm doing. So it's great for both of us.
Fuck yeah. That's good for bonding too. Like people don't realize how much bonding goes into that, because not only is it an art form, but you're literally sharing a moment with them. So you're sharing work, something else that you can kind of relate to each other for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I need to know what inspired you to get into sex work in the first place.
So it's kind of a long story. There's a few parts to it. I had always liked the industry. When I was, as soon as I turned 18, I wanted to go into glamour modeling and go down that road. That didn't happen. But then a couple of years ago, about 3.5 years ago, when I first started, my husband, now ex-husband at the time, we were having a lot of money troubles. And I'd seen someone talk about camming, so I thought, give it a go. Didn't know anything about it really. Started that, absolutely loved it. I did only that for about 3 months because I was doing it alongside a full-time job as well. And whilst doing that, one of the girls who was in like the agency that I was with, she had started on OnlyFans and had said, come try it. Like, you're taking the photos and the videos anyway that you're
Right.
putting on the camming sites. Just come upload them. And so she taught me how to use Twitter, taught me how to use OnlyFans,
Nice.
kind of helped me set up my entire page. And it kind of just went from there. I really enjoyed doing it. It was an industry I really enjoyed being involved in. I loved the people that I met. I loved talking to all different types of people, and I liked people liking me for me. And not to sound like, but I could just be myself, and people were. And at the time, I think I did need that. I was in a bad place with particular things, and it made me feel good about myself. It gave me my confidence back. It made me feel, like myself again. And I know, people see it differently with this industry, but to me, it literally gave me my confidence back. I would not be where I am now without having started sex work.
Fuck yeah. I love it. I love it. Like, I have heard so many people talk about kind of how sex work itself has helped give them confidence, has helped them grow as a person, has helped them be more accepting, like
definitely.
all positive attributes, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of strengths do you feel like you would need in sex work to be successful?
I think you do have to, when you're first starting, it can be quite intense, especially with when you're starting on social media. I have been extremely lucky that I've never really had any problems with social media. I don't get any bad comments, or if I do, then there's minimal of them.
Right.
But at the beginning, that was all I worried about, is what is somebody going to say about me? So I had to quickly toughen up a bit and start to think, it's just somebody's opinion. I don't know who they are. They're probably just saying it to get to me. So that was hard starting. Also, the just having the right type of confidence. I think you've got to do a lot of research. And people think you just walk into the industry, you take a couple of nude photos, and you're there. It's, as
they think you blow the fuck up. They're like, oh, well, I can sell a few nudes and make $1 million. No.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think people realize the amount of work that goes into it. I mean, you work for hours upon hours, and you're not getting paid for it. The marketing side as well, I think that's one of the biggest things. And if you can get that right, and establish your brand, that's the way to go. Like, everything else can kind of fall alongside. But what I would say, one of the best things is doing research and marketing, and or just businesses in general, because you're running your own business. You are, and 100%. You need to have that kind of mindset as well. But it's an interesting industry, isn't it?
Yes, and I have found that it is so wide open. Like, there are so many different avenues that you can take. Like, whenever I first started, I remember somebody telling me, oh, well, you won't be successful because you have like a mom bod, you got a few scars. It was actually one of my previous employers. So I was an assistant for a lawyer, right? And it was one of those things, like, he just wasn't attracted to stretch marks. And I was like, do you know that's part of the normal human body?
Exactly. Yeah.
So of course I wasn't going to let that kind of hinder my vision for myself. But I mean, just think of how many people, just kind of like you were saying earlier, how many people just say negative shit just because they're insecure themselves, or because they have a type and they like everybody to fit that type.
And you don't fit.
And you don't have to. In the community, I've seen every kind of walk of life be successful as long as you're consistent and you put in the work.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
exactly.
Anybody listening, do not let anybody tell you else, or tell you what you can and can't do, because let me tell you, sex work is super, super hard, but you can be successful if you want to be,
That's it. And I think that's also one of the things I really like about it is the reason I think you build your confidence as well is because you see so many people of all different types and all different body shapes, and it makes such a big difference, because things that you may have thought, for example, with stretch marks, you'll probably see them on so many other people and go, oh, they actually look really pretty, they look great, but you're looking at yourself differently. But over time, you change that. And one of my friends who I've got assisting for me at the moment, she helped me with my Twitter, but she had said that about stretch marks as well. And she was like, I saw this person and she looked amazing. And she was like, so I probably look similar. And I was like, you do, that's what you look like. And it's just so nice. You can uplift people that way as well. And I've always found, in the community, I've always tried to be that person. If I see bad comments on other people's, I will go and take their side, and as in like I'll be like, excuse me, what do you think you're doing, kind of thing. This person's beautiful, because I don't ever want somebody to see something and feel bad about it. So I'll hype up people as much as I can. And my mutuals on all my socials, I will make sure that I'm always commenting and things, and even if it just makes them smile for a second, it makes me feel good. So
fuck yeah, I am the same because it's one of those things. I feel like not everybody appreciates beauty because they don't want to, like they're miserable and they want other people to be miserable with them. And I'm not here to try to be miserable. I'm trying to lift myself and everybody else up. And I just feel like if there were more people that were kind of devoted to that, kind of like, well, I want to be positive, I want growth, and I want everybody else to have growth too, then there wouldn't be that random person on the internet just being like a shitbag just because, oh, well, they feel like they hate life and that everybody else should hate life too. Like, no, I need all the positive juju. That's what I need. So I know you said that before you kind of had to work your, you had your 9 to 5 and you kind of got into sex work as a secondary kind of income to kind of help you through what you were going through. So tell me what the difference between working a 9 to 5 and working for yourself looks like.
So it's a hard one, because one of the reasons I actually left my 9 to 5 job was health reasons, not necessarily just because. So my story is going to be a little bit different, as I loved my job, and I hope one day I will actually be able to go back to that as well. But this job has made it so much easier for me to get my health in order, because with a 9 to 5 job, as you'll understand as well, with having ADHD, you don't have normal sleeping patterns. You often have struggling with insomnia and things. So
you have great insomnia too. Like my insomnia is crippling sometimes.
I will be okay for a while, and then suddenly for a month I will barely sleep. So it's a nightmare. But because of that, it made it very difficult to then be present all the time in a 9 to 5. Also, I would get bored. So and that's why I think I was able to keep doing sex work as well as working in that job, because I was busy all the time then. But now, saying that, because I've been working for myself for about over a year now, so versus what has been my full-time job, I don't know if I could go back to working under somebody else. I like having control of my own schedule. I like being able to go book my appointments and whenever I want. I like being able to go meet a friend for coffee. I like if I want to wake up at midday and work till midnight instead, I can do that. So there's so much more freedom, which has been so much better for me as a person, has really helped me. But like I said, it is slightly different because I didn't leave my other job purely for this. But I did think about it a lot.
Right, certainly. So what's the difference in your headspace? So I noticed that you were talking about kind of the flexibility. So that kind of helps with your mental health, like on days where you're like, well, I don't really feel like committing to appointments today, or I don't really feel like committing to doing this today. I would rather do this. So it gives you that extra flexibility. Does that kind of aid with helping your mental health too?
Um, yes and no.
Okay.
The reason I say no is because I very much, for example, at the moment, I've with my Twitter assisting, that takes me about 9 hours a day,
Mhm.
but I will just keep working. So
Mm,
I don't have a
workaholic.
cutoff. I don't have a cutoff. Whereas and you never stop thinking about this
Mm,
work. You're always thinking
yeah.
about what can I do next? What I need to go and answer messages, or let me check
Yes.
this, let me check that.
Let
And
me
that's
network
some
and reach out to this person.
yeah.
Let me, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And especially because of the time zones being so different,
Yeah.
um, I want to be busy on my phone late at night. And my partner, I completely understand. He's like, no, you need to put the phone down for a while. You need to actually be
Yeah.
present. And I struggle with that. So that's maybe the downside to it is when you're working a 9 to 5, 5 o'clock, switch your computer, you walk out the door, that's it. You don't have to worry about it till the next morning. Whereas we don't really get that.
Yeah.
And yeah,
All
so
the truth. She speaks all
I'm
the truth.
always and I'm that I get a bit like, oh god, I've got to do all these things, and I'll make this massive to-do list, and I don't have to do any of them.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to.
Yeah, because it's like you have goals. Okay, so I'm going to ask you about kind of if you set like goals for the day. Like I have goals for myself for that day, and it's one of those things where I'm like, I need to get this much stuff done
Mm.
today. And if I only get a certain amount of it, I'm not going to be too torn up, but I at least have to get this done. Of course, I always put way more on it than I need to.
Yeah.
But do you have that something kind of that you do similar? Like, do you set yourself goals for the day?
So my main goal is always my clients on Twitter. They
Mhm.
always going to come first.
Right.
I absolutely love them to bits. The three clients that I work with, they're amazing, and they've been very loyal to me as well, which has been amazing. So I just love them.
Yeah.
So I want to do my best for them. So
Right.
they will always be my highest priority. And I will schedule my day around doing those drops for them.
Mm-hmm.
So doing the retweet groups and things for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll have a couple of my own things. But actually what I'm doing at the moment is I'm kind of a couple of friends of mine wanted to make a little bit of extra money
Mm-hmm.
and have a bit of free time. So they said, is there anything you need us to do?
Right.
So I'm building up a little management team at the
Oh,
moment.
nice.
So I've got two of my really good friends, and then somebody I actually know from Twitter, who's going to be helping do my scheduling for OnlyFans. Somebody's helping scheduling for Instagram. Somebody's helping with drops on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm kind of working on at the moment, is how to, that's one of the goals I've got, is how to kind of, I've got the potential there. I'm just trying to find out how to get everybody in the same kind of,
Right.
I, I've lost
Yeah.
my English words.
Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. So I am mighty curious. Do you plan on turning that team into a company and being consistent with it? Like, is that going to be a new thing for you?
I'm not 100% sure where I would like to end up.
Hmm.
I don't know if I would want to do it for other people.
Right.
I think it would be more my side. My absolute ideal is I've got my best friend. She's looking for a new job. And
Right.
I've said to her, if she can't find a new job by the end of the year, I want to hire her full time as my
Yeah.
manager assistant type
Yeah.
situation. So
That would be
that's what I'm
awesome.
working towards, because I would
Yeah.
love to be able to give her the freedom as well
Right.
of and she's the one who's doing my Twitter and things at the moment. So she's slowly working her way into the
Hmm.
industry and learning how things
Yeah.
work, and it's been great. And that's my ultimate goal, is to be able to employ friends and
Yeah.
help people with jobs and help people if they need to get a little bit extra money. I want to help my parents pay off their house, all those type of
Yeah.
things. And
Fuck yeah.
that's what yes, it's funny. I don't really think of it as like for my own self. I don't think like, oh, I need to buy a house, oh, I need to buy this. It's I want to do it
Hmm.
for everybody else, and that gives me more motivation, because I'm
Yes.
thinking I know you shouldn't necessarily do everything for like everybody else all the time, but I don't know. It
Well,
gives me
that
that
shows your
motivation.
heart too. Listen, not everybody has kind of, I guess, the effort to put forth for other people. So
Yeah.
whenever I see somebody with just a pure heart, I'm always like, fuck yeah, I want to see you win so bad. I get so excited for it. Okay, so we were kind of talking about how you got into the industry, and you were talking about around 6 years ago, you had started kind of wanting to do the modeling, and you've been like
Yeah.
into sex work like full on for about a year now. So kind of how has your perception changed over time? Like whenever you started and then your ideas up to now?
Well, it was a bit different because when I started camming, it was just before COVID and all the
Mm,
lockdowns and things.
mhm,
So I think that made it easier for me at the beginning
right.
because there were a lot more people around. It
Mhm,
also meant there were a lot more people who got into the industry just while they were waiting for their jobs to open back up and things.
right.
So I have noticed a big change from when I first started to now,
Mhm,
especially on social media. I'm finding that it's not as supportive and it's not as kind as it used to be.
yeah.
Maybe I'm in different groups as such. The people that I started Twitter with, um, it and they're still around, and you can still see they're the same people. They haven't
Right.
changed.
Right.
But I'm finding maybe the people who are new to it are coming into the industry for the wrong reasons. And they're coming into it because they've seen so many things online about all these
They
people
think they're
making
going
so
to be
much money
making a
from it.
shit ton of money.
Exactly. And they come in
Yeah.
with the wrong attitudes. And
I've noticed
then
people
they,
being super entitled. Have you?
yeah. And that's the
Yeah.
problem as well, is
Yeah.
you're not saying like they are bitchy or anything like that, but you do. I've seen so
Oh,
much
I'll say it
more
for you.
of
There are
that.
definitely a lot more bitchy people online.
And it's just like people don't want to help each other like they used to. And it's
Yeah.
quite sad because I
Yeah.
love the community that was built.
Right.
And I am lucky that I've got a nice group of friends within the community, as well as people who used to be and aren't anymore.
Right.
They've stopped sex work, they've gone back to their other jobs, after COVID kind of calmed down. But that's the one main thing, is I don't enjoy being on social media like I used to.
Yeah.
In terms of actual work wise, I don't think it's changed much.
Right.
It's just you grow, you learn new things. But in terms of that, it's not things are always going to change, aren't they? So
Right.
you
Oh,
just kind of
yes.
just go with the flow. But I've definitely noticed there's a big change in the community.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've noticed that too. I've noticed that since COVID, there's like huge saturation. So not just the people that love and want to be here, but people that are
Mm.
just here for money. So one of my biggest things was I do a lot of niche work. I
Mm.
am a pro dom. So
Yeah.
I've noticed that a lot of doms that come in, well, some of us call them insta doms. So I've noticed a lot of doms that come in are those that don't really think that they need to work. They're just like, oh, well, I'm just supposed to put my hand out and people are supposed to
Yeah.
fill it with money. Like, if that's the way it really worked, there would be a lot more people only into findom, and there would be a lot more
Mm.
people that literally just exist and get money thrown at them. Now, once you build up your platform, your brand, like we were talking about earlier, you do your
Yeah.
marketing, you would do your investing, you are taking years to build yourself up. Yeah, then people throw money at you, but it's because they're paying for the brand, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like anything else. You have to build that brand up. Once you do and people find you easier, people are more consistent. It's just like with
Mm.
kind of your work and people tipping you. They're like, oh, you do such amazing work, and they tip you. Well, you have to build up that audience before you have those people
Yes.
there that are willing to do that. You know
Yeah.
what
It's
I
not going to be
mean?
an instant thing, which I
Yeah.
think people think.
Yeah. And I feel like a bunch of the new people think, oh my goodness, I remember this meme that I seen. It was during COVID, And it was, if you see me posting my videos on Pornhub, mind your business. I'm trying to make my $100,000. And I'm just like, who told these people how much Pornhub pays? Because
I think they need to go look into that.
I was like, man, I need to know who's getting paid and where they getting paid.
Tell me.
Yeah.
Tell me how to do that too.
Because I have a Pornhub and I think I missed the bus on that one. Woo. So yeah, I was like, let me educate you a little bit, because that's not how it works.
No,
Like,
I wish it was the ideal.
even right now on Pornhub, you're only getting paid ad revenue.
Yeah.
Like, that's all.
Everything's,
you can't do downloads. You can't sell, like you used to be able to use Model Hub and sell clips on there, which was fucking amazing. Like, fucking amazing. And back whenever all the shit blew up with them, they took it all away, right? Instead of doing everything that needed to be done to vet people and make sure only people.
Oh yeah, because that was going to cost too much money.
Yeah.
It's always going to be the case with those platforms, unfortunately. It's always going to be what's easy. So that's one thing. That's one of the reasons I didn't use. Yeah, it's one of the reasons I didn't like you. I'd never wanted to use them, was because there was so much. I know, you're never going to know 100% what was true and what wasn't, but still the fact that everything was brought up, there's got to be some sort of truth in there. And that put me off.
Turning blind eyes just because, they're like, oh, well, that could cost me 2 pennies.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So yeah. Pornhub does not pay you that. Anybody listening that does not know, Pornhub does not pay you that. In fact, you get paid ad revenue. And that's only like $100 for every 100,000 views. Like, you have to be committed. Super
it's
committed.
More of an advertising tool, really, than anything else.
Yes. And that's exactly what I use mine for. Like, I put shit up just so people can be like, new people can find my content and be like, ooh, piece of candy.
People like a preview.
Yeah. That's exactly
any sort of freebies. They work. I think that's why Twitter does so well, because I completely get that people want a preview before they pay money for something. And so you've got two sides of it. As you know, my Twitter's very uncensored. I used to have a censored account and it didn't do very well. And I saw everybody else swapping to uncensored, and I thought, you know what, if I'm putting it out there, then if anybody leaks any of my content, I won't care, because I put it out there anyway.
Yeah.
And it helped me grow massively. I mean, my first Twitter account, this is my second one after I got suspended. I think it was on like 250,000. And that was, a lot of organic growth as well. And that was from being uncensored compared to censored. So I think people like to be able to see a bit of a preview and like to know what they're buying into. And I think that's one of the reasons people do. One of the only reasons I think Pornhub is quite good is because you can upload those videos and you can give people a bit more of a taste of what you're offering. Right.
Yes. So I was going to ask you about that. I know you said that you had a censored first and then you had an uncensored. You had rapid growth whenever you did uncensored. So was it one of those things that it slowly took traction, or as soon as you started the transition, you started noticing the growth?
I started slowly. So it was more like teaser things. Yeah. Okay. So I didn't go like from censored to like wham everything
in your face. Okay.
But you gotta have the confidence to do it as well, because you're thinking, oh my god, people are gonna pick me apart, they're gonna comment on this, comment on that, and so you've got to get that confidence as well to post. Now I don't care, I'll let you post whatever. But I used to do only censored. I used to sit there and make sure nothing was visible. Even in like sheer lingerie, I would be covering something up. And I got to, I think it was about 50,000 on there. Now this is Twitter a couple of years ago. This is Twitter 3 years ago, so it's very different to what it is now.
Oh yes.
And then I think I said, when I get to 50k, I'll start posting like topless or something. And then I would do it. And when I got to 75k, I'll start posting completely nude. And once I'd done that, it just blew up. I think I had a picture that went viral, and it was crazy. I think I was getting about 5 to 7,000 followers a day just on that one picture.
Yeah.
And I have cheated and used that picture again, and every time I post it, it does really well when I need a boost. But it did straight away went. And I know a lot of the time those are going to be more people aren't going to be paying, and they they just there for the content, the free content, and that's cool because they're still liking, retweeting, reposting your content.
Hugely important.
Exactly, because that's gonna then you're gonna find more people.
Yeah.
And so it was quite a big unfortunately my husband at the time, he was not very supportive over that. So it was difficult because as I was growing, I was feeling more and more like, should I be doing this? But now it's completely different with a different person who's very supportive over it. And he likes to see my accounts grow as well. So he'd be like, oh, look what you're on, look how quickly that's gone up, and look how many retweets this has, and things. So it's nice. It's but this time around with this account, it's been a lot slower, the growth. But I think that is just because it's very different to how it used to be.
Yeah, the algorithm has changed, and then kind of what you are allowed to post and what they enforce, and the stipulations have just completely changed, and I feel like many years ago it was much easier to have accounts, and
definitely.
I think that's one reason I'm so fucking pissed that I lost my higher accounts, because it takes time to build that shit up, and then whenever they take it from you, it seems like it takes even longer.
It does.
I feel like me trying to build back now has taken me an eternity.
No, I get
it's
that.
Exhausting.
I get that.
I'm super glad that you have somebody super supportive in your life now, because that makes all the difference, right?
It really does.
Kind of what I was going to ask you. I know you said that you kind of support and help several other models, which is really awesome. You have your best friend that's kind of supportive and helps you, and your partner helps you. Do you have anyone outside of the community that kind of is like, fuck yeah, keep kicking ass?
I'm very lucky that all my friends and my family are very supportive.
Good.
I've never really had, they very much like, are you safe? Are you happy? Yeah, fantastic. That's it. I mean, my mum was very much, I was very worried about her finding out, as you would do with your parents. But actually she's, the question she then asks me now. I don't think we should be having these conversations, Mum, but we tend to have them now. But it's nice because she doesn't understand the industry. I don't think she really wants to 100%, but she supports whatever I want to do. And I've been very, very lucky that all my friends who I've told have all been, you're like, you go, you do what you want to do. Carry on, good for you. I wish I could do that too. So I've been extremely lucky compared to a lot of other people who I know do not have much support at all. I have it all around me.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that. I fucking love it. I fucking love it. And I've noticed that over the years, it is slowly becoming more acceptable, because there used to be like this extreme stigma, like everybody that was in sex work was like this survival worker that's just hooked on crack or something, and like that is not the case at all. Like, there are survival workers out there, and I don't put shame on those at all, but at the end of the day, there are people that are just there because we want to be. We love it. It brings some kind of joy to our life, right? Like me, it's hard for me, like whenever you were talking earlier about focusing, it's hard for me to focus at a 9 to 5, because it's like it's tedious, it's small, repetitive, like my brain just is like, there's a million other things that I could be doing, and this is not one of those. Like I just feel like not really like lost potential, but it's like, what could I be doing that's more productive? My brain is like, I can't stick to this because I feel like it's not productive,
no, I know exactly what you mean. and you want to go and do the other thing that you've now thought about, because
Yes.
that's like high priority in your mind.
Yes. Oh my goodness, you do know.
Even if it's something silly like going and putting a load of washing on.
Yes. And it's like
That
your
will
brain
be the
gets hyper
important thing.
fixated on it. And
Yeah.
it's like, I have to do this now because it's where my time needs to be spent.
And you just can't concentrate on anything until you've done that. So yeah, no, I get it.
Yes. Yes, you know my struggle.
Yes, definitely. I actually find a lot of people, because I've been in a lot in, once again, it's mainly been on Twitter, but it's also Reddit and Instagram and things. But I find a lot of people in the industry often have mental health issues, or
Yes.
and this job is great for them because they have the freedom and they
Yes.
can do what they need to do. And if they need a day off, they can have a day off. I think it's helped so many more people than the outside world realizes.
Yes.
And a lot of those people would not be working if it wasn't for the sex work industry.
Yes, 100%. And you know, I always go back to that. There are so many people that I talk to that have some kind of chronic illness, whether it be physical or mental. And this is one of those jobs that allows you the freedom to tend to your health
Yeah.
and still grow.
Yeah.
Like years ago, I had some health issues go on and I didn't know what was happening to me. I literally thought I was dying. Like all my organs started shutting down.
Oh, wow.
It was one of those things where I didn't know what was happening. Well, come to find out,
Yes.
I have an autoimmune disorder and I was allergic to the food that I was eating, and it
Oh,
was
God.
literally, yeah, it was literally killing me. So I didn't know. So I'm consuming this food, not knowing that it's killing me. And it takes them 2 years to figure out what's going on with me. And by that time, I'm like fucking bedridden. I can't do
Yeah.
shit. And then it was a tough battle. But I
Yeah.
mean, through that time, I worked when I could
Yeah.
through sex work. So I was able to still pay my bills, still make sure my kids are taken care of. And all because of the freedom, the flexibility, and being able to work whenever I could work, not
Yeah.
whenever somebody was standing over me being like, you have to do
You
this,
do this
even
now.
though,
Yeah.
yeah. And like,
Yeah.
I've talked to so many people that have been very similar cases. It's like, I have really bad days and I need to take the day off. And with a regular job, I can't do that.
No.
This allows you to do that. Now,
exactly. Yeah. It's a big
there are days
difference.
whenever you work your ass off, whenever you can't breathe because you got so much, kind of like we were talking about. Oh, I have a million things on my list and I have to do
Yeah.
them all. There are those days. Like sometimes it's hard to find balance, but for me, I feel like those days are worth it for me to be able to work for myself and know that my mental and physical health are taken care of.
Yeah. They can be number one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you can prioritize them. And that's also, I have lots of appointments as well for medical reasons. And it was a struggle to get them off work. And now you don't have to think about it. It's just go when you need to. And it's that just that makes a big difference. And it's a bit different in the UK as well. I don't know what it's like where you are, but here you can only have a certain amount of absences from work before it becomes a problem. It's normally like 3 in 6 months.
Yeah.
And that I also have a few chronic problems, but what my main one is chronic migraines. And as anyone who has migraines, so you know, it's not easy to work, especially when I used to be staring at a computer and I would have to go in because I could lose my job if I didn't. And that I had them every single day. So that was one of the reasons I left as well, is because with this, I can just stay in bed for a little bit longer, take some meds, go have a nap, hopefully wake up okay, or okay enough to do something on my phone or on my laptop or whatever. But that was also that, I think that actually made it worse because I was constantly worrying, like, oh my God, what if I'm sick tomorrow and I can't go in? I've been ill twice already this month or whatnot. And it was stressful.
Yes.
Constantly worrying you're going to lose your job.
It can affect your mental health, can affect your physical health, right? So they can go together and fuck each other up. And it's like that here in the US too. I'm pretty sure it was like 3 absences in, I can't remember if it's 3 months or 4 months whenever I worked for
Yeah.
corporate, but I'm going to tell you, it was not realistic for someone that has health issues. Like, even if you
No.
have approval from your doctor, they were still like, unless you're literally on your deathbed, you should be here. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And if you have kids and things as well, it's even
yeah,
more difficult
yeah.
because you've got to take them into account as well, and them having sick days
Mhm.
and whatnot.
And a
So it's
corporation does not give a fuck. They
no,
don't care. They don't care
no,
because you're not a human to them.
you're just a
You're just,
number.
yes, yes. Exactly. Exactly. So I know we've kind of talked a lot about work overall. I want to know some sexy stuff now. I need to know what you're interested in. What are you attracted to?
In what way?
Anyway, any capacity, whether we're talking vanilla, we're talking kinks, tell me what you like.
I think overall I'm a bit more of a vanilla person.
Okay. Okay.
But I do really like my fantasy toys.
Okay.
They definitely becoming a big thing for me. I'm really enjoying that, and I I have yeah, my collection is growing pretty
Is
well.
growing, ever growing. I've been
Yeah,
noticing that.
yeah.
I noticed which one. There was a purple fantasy toy. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's on your page right now. So I really like your purple fantasy toy. It looks super ribbed. So I have to ask, whenever it comes to your fantasy toys, what makes them more appealing for you? Is it the design of them? Is it the coloration? Because some of these are pretty as fuck. Like, they have some nice colors to
I
them,
think it
right?
is. I think to me it's like an art piece.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm not the biggest fan of like realistic looking toys.
hmm
I don't know why. I just find them a bit, I don't know.
Boring.
I will use them. I will use them, especially for videos and stuff, especially for custom content. People seem to
Right.
love them, but I much prefer the pretty things.
Yeah.
Especially one of mine is glittery. Like, how can you not like that?
Yeah. Yeah. For
And
sure.
compared to like a skin colored,
hmm
yeah, it's just you can't
Bland.
compare. And
hmm
they're all different. They're all so different,
Yeah.
and you can find things that work for you, what you prefer, and that
Right.
mold to your body better. So I'm still like, I know people use them all different sizes. I haven't quite
hmm
got there yet. Working my way there, but I think that's kind of where I'd like to go with my page as well. Is go more
Okay.
down that route of things, because I really enjoy it, and like I said,
Yeah.
maybe it's because it's pretty.
hmm
I just
Yeah.
like looking at them, but and they take all you can take awesome pictures and make like awesome videos with them. But
hmm
it's kind of my thing at the moment.
Okay.
But besides that, I would say I'm more of the vanilla type, like girl next door kind of thing.
Okay.
My partner at the moment is very adventurous, so like I literally
Mhm.
could say anything and he'd be like, yeah, cool, let's do it. So we will slowly, add things onto our page as well. But it's I I went through a long time where sex to me was not enjoyable. In
Right.
my previous relationship, I a lot happened.
Mhm.
And I'm sure people could probably kind of guess where I was going
Oh,
with that. But
yes.
it's not so going into it and going into this as a job, I had to relearn everything,
Right.
and relearn what I actually personally enjoyed, what
Huh.
I was comfortable doing, what I wasn't comfortable doing, because for a long time there was nothing there. I didn't enjoy anything.
Well,
So it's,
it's one of those
yeah,
mental things, right? Whenever
yeah,
you're looking at it from a mental aspect and it's associated with something negative, it no longer becomes pleasure, then it becomes
mm,
pain, right? Like a negative pain, not the good kind of
yeah,
pain.
yeah,
So whenever you're looking at something and you're like associating it with something negative and it's not bringing you anything, like you're not getting
yeah.
any kind of satisfaction, then of course you're like, yeah, this isn't for me. So I'm super, super glad that you found it, because obviously, like, let's face it, you were kind of meant to be here. I mean, I love your art. I love your art. I think you do
Thank you,
amazing at it.
thank
And
you.
it's one of those things, like, you can see that you're not only going to grow kind of temporary into where you want to be, but you have staying power. So you've
Mm.
been here with everything that you've been through and the growth that you've had, and you not only love it, but you want more of it.
Yeah, it's
Like you
definitely
can
brought a
see
lot
it.
of joy back.
Yeah.
And it's made me want to try a lot more new things. It's made me want to just be more adventurous and be
Yeah.
more open. And actually, just in general, as a person, I'm a lot more open than I used to be. I will literally talk to anyone about anything.
Yeah.
That's not bother me. Whereas before, I would say I was not shy, but I was a bit more reserved. And this definitely has, like, now I'm quite happy to discuss anything with anybody at
Yeah.
any
Fuck
time.
yeah. That's one of
And
those things. It looks like it's helped your confidence grow too. You're like, this is what I like, and I don't give a fuck.
yeah.
I love it. I love it. So on the opposite end of that, do you have any soft or hard limits? You're like, that's an absolute fuck no. Like I am not interested.
Yeah, things like race play, I don't, anything in that regard, no way. Age as well. Even if people are asking to be older in role plays, I don't know, there's a fine line with that. Those two are probably my biggest ones that I would never even think about. Otherwise, I think it depends, very much depends. I'm quite open to try a lot of things, even if I've not done them before. I would probably give it a go. And I have done that for a lot of people, a lot of kinks that I did, a lot of them I hadn't even heard of, to be honest, before I started. And then they asked me, and somebody's asked you to do a custom video, and I think it was with Vor. I didn't understand really what it was, and I found, and somebody had said to me, "Oh, watch this. I'd like you to do something like this." And I said, "I've never done that." And then I think I ended up making about 10 customs for him in the end over the course of the year. So it became quite fun. So you definitely learn. And I also find that not necessarily, if I don't necessarily want to do it in my own personal life, I still actually enjoy doing it on camera.
Yeah.
So I love the acting side of things. I like role play. So, but it depends what it is, I guess. It's every situation is going to be different. It also depends how well I know the person and if I'm comfortable filming for that person. If it's a long-term subscriber and they're like, "Hey, I'm really interested in this, how would you feel about doing it?" I probably would say, "Yeah, let me give it a go." If it was somebody brand new, it probably, and I hadn't built any relationship with them yet, I probably would give that a bit of time. Especially if I don't know what I'm doing, because then I'm worried they'd be judging me.
And it's one of those things, whenever you have somebody that's consistent, that shows that, hey, I'm interested in the growth of your brand. You're like, I really enjoy you. You support what I'm trying to do. And I want to kind of support whatever you have going on. Like, of course, as long as it goes with your morals and everything. Because I mean, there's always going to be that one person that is kind of like, oh, let me see how far I can push it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, I will be, I'm not a confrontational person at all, but this job as well has definitely taught me to stand up for myself and to say no. I probably 3 years ago, that would not be the case. I'd be saying yes to everybody just to keep them happy.
Right.
But
that's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. All the power, all the strength, all the beauty. Like you have it all now.
Thank you.
Love it. Okay, so I'm going to ask you 2 more questions and I'm going to let you get on with your day because I have taken a lot of your time today.
That's okay.
The first question I want to ask is, tell me what you consider the best part about being a sex worker.
Honestly, I love making the content. I really enjoy making the content, playing with pretty outfits and pretty toys and building sets and writing scripts. I enjoy that part. The community used to be my favorite, but as we spoke about earlier,
Right.
that has changed.
Yeah.
But I love art, and I find it as, taking photos and things, I see it as an art form. So
Yes.
that's why I enjoy doing it as well. But yeah, I would say that probably be my favorite
Very
part.
artistic. Yes. Now, speaking of art, whenever you're doing a lot of your content, is it self-shot? Are you doing portraits, or do you have assistants?
So 99.9% of it is all self
Okay.
done, but recently my partner started, just to kind of, so we both involved in it.
Right.
I've been trying to teach him how to take photos so he can get different angles and whatnot. So in I would say the last 2 kind of content days I've had, they were purely shot by him, just to try.
Nice.
And so he's getting better. He's definitely getting better. Won't take him long and he'll have it spot on.
Good, good. I'm so glad to hear. So, okay, the last question I have for you is going to be, can you tell me more about what your day looks like? So the responsibilities from day to day, kind of what it starts out like and how you end your day.
So it does change
Mm-hmm.
every day, depending on what appointments I've got, if I'm seeing anybody, if I'm going to the gym, all of
Right.
that. But like yesterday was a normal day. So I would say I get up, I check my Instagram messages, I check my Twitter messages, I check my OnlyFans messages, I check my emails, and that's before coffee.
So
And then
many messages.
and I
So
try to
many.
get back to all of those. I've got somebody who's kind of he's not really managing my OnlyFans, but he's just helping me with like the uploading and keeping an eye on everything. So I'll check the messages from him, see what's been going on, maybe have a quick catch up. Then I'll start on clients' accounts. I have 6 accounts altogether, ranging in different amounts of time they take.
Right.
And then in between that, because I'll get distracted, I will probably read messages again or reply to other messages or end up doing something completely different. I do try my best to be finished by about 5 o'clock. And then in the evening, I can kind of just spend time with my partner, or, do the normal things people should be doing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't normally happen that way. And I normally am on my phone, I would say, until at least 7, 8 at night, normally just answering messages, checking what's going on, making sure I'm not missing anything. It's a lot of admin work, I would say.
Yeah.
A lot of admin work.
Oh my goodness. And that's one of those things that kind of ties into what we were talking about earlier. You have to learn how to market yourself, and you have to be able to network, and you have to be able to be consistent with answering messages because people lose interest. And then like there is so much that goes into it, right? Whenever you become a sex worker working for yourself, you have to become a photographer. You got to do some kind of videography stuff. You have to learn how to market. You have to learn how to network with others if you do like duos of any kind, or if you touch base with clients, you do customs. You got to learn how to do that. Like you need like 10 classes to teach you how to do stuff before you even get started.
Especially if you anyone who uses Telegram will know how crazy that app is as well, and trying to keep on top of everything there. I think if I was to write down everything I did in a day, people would just think I was crazy. Because you're doing so many marketing things. It's not just, okay, I'm going on Twitter and I'm going on Instagram and I'm going on Reddit and posting. It's all the things that then you use to increase your engagement on those platforms.
Yes.
Which
gets crazy. Like
so,
I know what you're talking about with Telegram, because not only did I use it for myself, and I was actually an assistant for several people. And let me tell you, whenever you start factoring that in and all these other like the retweet groups, or if it's a group that's just engagement, you're just doing likes or comments, like that is a wild world. And let me tell you, you have to invest a lot of time because you
And
don't
they're
realize
always
how much time
changing
it takes.
things. They
Yes.
always change things, and you just get the hang of it, and they're like, "Oh, actually, we do groups like this now," and you're just like,
Yeah.
"Get it."
Yeah. Oh, you got to add this in, or we can't accept it. Oh, well, you can't put this in, or we can't share it on other people's pages. Oh, you have to. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's hard.
So you literally have to learn how to adapt very quickly
Yeah.
in that world, like
Oh yeah,
super quick.
definitely.
And you have to look at the policies that's changing for each platform that you're on, and all platforms don't have the same policies. So they're always taking things in or taking and removing things because, oh, well, that goes against guidelines. You know, you're hitting terms of service now, so you got to remove that. Like,
Yeah, I just seem to keep getting banned on everything as well. I think I've lost 3 Reddit accounts, 2 Twitter accounts, an Instagram account.
We're gonna be the queen of bans. Like, we're gonna be friends as the queen of bans. I've literally been saying for the last 6 years that I am the queen of bans, and now I've met someone else that is.
It's just something that you got to accept, isn't it? Like, you know, it's going to happen at some point. The one thing I'm really,
the first 3 broke my heart. I'm like,
yeah,
so much work and effort.
I know.
And like I told you before, whenever you're building back, it seems like it takes 10 times longer.
It does. And it's really hard, which is I think it is a good thing because you're finding more active followers and things.
Right.
But it just doesn't feel good because you do concentrate on the numbers. Well, you know, you shouldn't. You do concentrate on them. But I am glad to see that there's a lot of content creators that I kind of both on Instagram and Twitter that I kind of started with. They've hit like 1 million followers. And it's so nice to see on social media that they're porn stars and they're allowed on these platforms with this many followers. And I think that's great. And I'm hoping that it's gonna continue to happen because I love to see it. And one of the people, I think when I started, they were on like 100K or just over, and they've recently just hit 1 million. I'm just like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yes.
But it's lovely to see. So it's hope. You don't get banned again.
Remember, if you do not follow this amazing individual on Twitter, get your ass over there. It's at MISSELUSIVEX. Make sure you get over there. Amazing, right? And thank you so much for being so amazing today.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. We will see you guys on the next episode of Forbidden Depths, and you have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Hey, it's Queen Frostbitten again, your host. I just want to remind you that you can follow us on YouTube at Forbidden Depths. That's FORBIDDENDEPTHS. Or over on Twitter at 4 BIDDENDPODCAST. Remember to always stay educated, consensual, and safe. We'll see you on the next show.